World War II is often remembered for its sweeping battlefields, iconic strategies, and heroic narratives of bravery. Yet beneath these grand stories lies a hidden, darker layer. Operations so secret, so chilling, that even today, decades later, historians struggle to understand their true nature. Ghost battalions vanished overnight. Scientists conducted experiments the world was never meant to know about. Naval convoys disappeared into the Atlantic fog, without a trace. These stories did not make it into textbooks or museum exhibits. They remain hidden in archives, whispered in classified files, and preserved only in fragments of eyewitness accounts. Tonight, WW2 Tales Archived will resurrect these shadows in cinematic black and white. We will explore missions forgotten by time, soldiers lost to secrecy, and operations so extraordinary that the line between history and legend blurs. In the bitter winter of 1943, deep within the forests of the Eastern Front, Allied command deployed a battalion of 480 soldiers to secure a strategic crossroads that controlled vital supply routes. These were veterans of previous campaigns, accustomed to harsh conditions and relentless enemy engagements. Yet, what unfolded over the next hours would defy logic, military protocol, and historical precedent. By the first light of dawn, every soldier had vanished. Weapons were still in place, rations stacked neatly, and personal belongings remained untouched. No footprints led away. No signs of struggle were visible. Commanders initially refused to believe the reports. How can an entire battalion disappear without a single trace? Reinforcements dispatched to the coordinates discovered the surreal scene. Every tent was intact, every campfire cold, and every piece of equipment in order. Helmets, canteens, backpacks, nothing had been taken or disturbed. Even the animals of the forest behaved oddly, as if sensing an absence in the landscape. Dogs, trained to detect human presence, refused to react. Villagers in the surrounding area reported no activity, no sound of fighting, nothing unusual. The battalion's disappearance was so complete that some officers speculated it might have been the result of a top-secret Allied operation. Official record, however, contained only fragmented notes, leaving the fate of the soldiers a mystery. Local villagers later recalled the night of the battalion's disappearance with chilling detail. One farmer claimed he saw faint lights moving in the forest, hundreds of them, yet they vanished before he could alert anyone. Others spoke a low humming sound, vibrating to the snow and fog, that faded without explanation. These accounts were recorded in secret wartime diaries but remain unpublished. Soldiers from nearby units also reported feeling a presence in the area, a sensation being watched or guided by something unseen. Whether imagined or real, these testimonies added layers of mystery to the already inexplicable event. The first theory proposed that German commandos executed a night ambush with surgical precision. Elite operatives, moving silently through dense forests, could theoretically strike without leaving evidence. However, military analysts argue this would require impossible coordination. For 180 men disappearing without a single gunshot trace or body seems beyond even the most capable commando units of the era. Slightly disturbed foliage and distant reports of gunfire offered some evidence, but nothing definitive. Yet, despite the lack of proof, the ambush theory persists, cited in multiple historical analyses as the most plausible human explanation for a battalion's disappearance. Some historians suggest the battalion became disoriented while attempting to retreat through swampy marshlands nearby. Dense fog hung low, obscuring vision, while exhaustion and freezing temperatures slowed their movement. Panic could have caused soldiers to scatter, losing cohesion entirely. Yet, despite extensive searches over subsequent weeks, no bodies, no traces, and no stragglers were ever found. Terrain analysis later revealed that the marshland was only partially submerged, making it unlikely that 480 soldiers could vanish without leaving evidence. The theory, while plausible on a psychological level, fails to account for the total disappearance. The most disturbing theory comes from recently declassified files. Some suggest the battalion was extracted for a clandestine mission, one so sensitive that records were intentionally destroyed or obscured. If true, these soldiers may have been relocated to a secret facility for intelligence gathering, experimental weapon testing, or other undisclosed operations. The files are fragmented, Only hints remain, such as cryptic coordinates, partial orders, and mentions of unassigned personnel. The idea that an entire battalion could vanish deliberately, removed from all public record, chills the imagination and highlights the opaque nature of wartime secrecy. The disappearance left a profound mark on both military hierarchy and families of soldiers. Letters went unanswered. Commanders carried the weight of inexplicable loss, and morale in surrounding units dropped. Internal documents refer to battalion as missing under mysterious circumstances and caution junior officers against speculation. Over time, stories of the Ghost Battalion evolved into whispered legends, referenced in training manuals as cautionary tales. The battalion became both a literal and metaphorical ghost, haunting archives, classrooms, and imaginations of those who studied the Second World War. In recent decades, satellite imagery and terrain analysis have been used to revisit the battalion's disappearance. High-resolution scans of the forested areas revealed no hidden encampments or mass graves. Soil composition, vegetation studies, and chemical analysis provided no clues, no traces of explosives, chemical warfare, or large troop movement. Modern historians remain baffled. Even with 21st century technology, the Ghost Battalion's fate continues to elude conclusive explanation, reinforcing its place as one of World War II's most enduring mysteries. The story of the Ghost Battalion reminds us that history is not always a series of clear, documented events. Some chapters remain hidden, buried in archives, whispered in classified files, or lost entirely to the fog of war. The battalion's disappearance challenges assumptions about warfare, human organization, and secrecy. For those who delve into the shadows of World War II, the Ghost Battalion stands as a chilling reminder. Not all that happens is recorded, and not all soldiers return. The mystery endures, haunting both past and present. The disappearance of the Ghost Battalion left military historians puzzled, but the war was far from over. While entire units vanished in the forests of the Eastern Front, the Nazi regime was secretly working on projects that could change the course of the war. Hitler, obsessed with technological superiority, authorized programs so clandestine that few records survived. Weapons, vehicles, and experimental aircraft were designed in secrecy, often in hidden factories far from Allied reconnaissance. Some of these projects were ambitious, some grotesque, and all carried a shadow of horror. Tonight, we enter the hidden laboratories and factories where history's most secret weapons were born. By 1943, Hitler had approved a series of superweapon programs aimed at reversing Germany's losses on the Eastern Front and in Western Europe. From long-range missiles to jet-powered aircraft, the research was rapid, dangerous, and tightly controlled. Scientists were often coerced into participation, working under constant surveillance. Many projects were destined to fail, leaving behind incomplete prototypes and dead ends. Yet, the ambition behind these programs illustrates the regime's obsession with dominance, a combination of ingenuity and terror. As the war progressed, Allied forces intercepted reports of a mysterious convoy moving through the North Sea. Ships carrying troops, weapons, and supplies seemed to vanish into thin air. Radar logs recorded sudden disappearances, and reconnaissance pilots reported fog and strange lights along the convoy's route. The German Navy maintained strict secrecy, and later intelligence suggested experimental technology or sabotage. Survivors, few as they were, spoke of ghostly apparitions on deck, bizarre weather phenomena, and moments when instruments failed completely. The story of this convoy remains one of the most baffling maritime mysteries of the war. Several sailors who survived brief engagements with the convoy reported events that defied explanation. One recalled seeing entire ships disappear, only to reappear miles away. Another mentioned strange green glows beneath the water, illuminating the hulls for a few seconds before vanishing. Instruments on board, compasses, radio equipment, even early sonar, malfunctioned inexplicably. While some dismiss these accounts as hallucinations caused by fatigue and stress, intelligence officers kept careful logs, noting patterns too consistent to ignore. Meanwhile, in secret hangars across southern Germany, engineers worked on jet-powered and vertical takeoff aircraft. Designs were often salvaged from failed concepts, combined with new aerodynamic theories, and tested under extreme secrecy. Pilots involved in the testing reported unexplained crashes, sudden lightning strikes, and engine malfunctions beyond known physics. The Nazis' obsession with achieving an edge in aerial warfare led to thousands of lost lives and a series of aircraft that were never mass-produced, their designs disappearing into archives or destroyed by Allied bombing raids. Back at sea, Allied intelligence attempted to track the disappearing convoy using multiple reconnaissance planes and early radar. Pilots reported fog patches that seemed to form and dissipate unnaturally, as if the weather itself were manipulated. Some intelligence documents reference unknown German devices capable of creating optical illusions or electromagnetic interference. Despite multiple patrols, the convoy was never fully accounted for. Reports describe entire supply lines vanishing overnight, leaving the Allies both frustrated and mystified. Some historians theorize a chilling connection. The same secretive mindset that allowed the Ghost Battalion to vanish may have extended to the Nazi naval projects. While one side lost men in unexplained circumstances, the other side experimented with disappearing ships and ghostly convoys. Could the technologies or tactics developed by the Nazis have influenced the battalion's fate? While no direct evidence exists, the parallels are haunting, illustrating how both sides of the war conceal secrets that may never be fully understood. Adding to the mystery, Allied intelligence noted unusual sabotage events near these secret projects. Supply depots were burned overnight, shipments intercepted, and communication lines mysteriously jammed. Spies operating in Germany reported seeing convoys vanish from docks before boarding could be completed. The intertwining of espionage, secret weapons, and vanishing battalions created a complex web of mysteries, blending human cunning with unexplained phenomena. Recent investigations suggest that the Nazis may have experimented with early forms of stealth or electromagnetic technology. Documents hint at devices capable of interfering with navigation and communication. While some claims border on the speculative, including reports of cloaking devices or weather manipulation, even partial verification will explain some of the convoy and battalion disappearances. Scientists today continue to study declassified files, try to reconstruct the impossible feats attempted during those years. The story of Hitler's secret projects and the disappearing convoy highlights a disturbing reality of World War II. Secrecy, ambition, and the unknown intersected in ways that left mysteries for generations. Entire battalions, advanced aircraft, and supply convoys vanished, leaving historians with fragments, conjectures, and chilling accounts of what might have been. As we continue to uncover the archives, the fog of war remains thick, hiding truths that may never be fully revealed. As the war neared its end, the Nazi secret projects and disappearing convoys left an indelible mark on history. While the Allies advanced, capturing cities and liberating occupied territories, they also stumbled upon hidden laboratories, abandoned battalions, and classified documents. The revelations were staggering. Among these discoveries was Operation Paperclip, an Allied initiative to recruit German scientists for post-war projects, some of whom had worked on weapons so secretive that their very existence was denied until decades later. In 1945, as Germany crumbled, the United States and its allies identified a list of scientists whose knowledge could provide strategic advantage in the coming Cold War. These individuals had been involved in rocketry, jet propulsion, chemical engineering, and experimental weapons. The recruitment was secretive and controversial. Some scientists were complicit in horrific experiments, yet their expertise outweighed moral considerations. This program would alter history, bringing German innovation into American projects and laying the groundwork for space exploration and advanced military technology. While Operation Paperclip focused on scientists, the phenomenon of disappearing battalions continued to intrigue historians. Among them was a unit nicknamed the Cursed Battalion, assigned to Western Front in late 1944. This battalion, composed of hardened veterans, was sent to secure a strategic town in northern France. Within days, communication was lost. Survivors reported seeing unexplainable apparitions, strange lights, and shadows moving independently of human sources. Those who returned spoke of a cursed fog that disoriented and trapped soldiers in isolated areas, seemingly manipulating reality itself. Eyewitness testimonies described bizarre events: soldiers vanishing into mist, vehicles stalling without mechanical failure, and sound of battle without visible enemies. Some reported seeing ghostly figures in full uniform, standing silently before disappearing. Commanders dismissed these accounts as stress-induced hallucinations, yet consistent patterns across multiple reports suggested something beyond ordinary explanation. The battalion story became a cautionary tale, whispered in barracks and written in classified reports marked top secret. Unexplained phenomena. Allied intelligence launched formal investigations into the cursed battalion. Investigators scoured maps, local villages, and even underground bunkers for evidence. Despite extensive searches, no conclusive explanation emerged. Some theorized that German electronic warfare devices caused hallucinations and navigational disorientation. Others believed natural phenomena, such as toxic gas pockets from shell craters, created illusions. Yet nothing accounted fully for the repeated accounts of soldiers vanishing completely. The phenomenon remains one of WW2's most unsettling mysteries. During the final months of the war, Allied troops discovered a hidden laboratory deep in the Bavarian mountains. The facility contained partially built aircraft, experimental tanks, and blueprints for weapons never seen before. Scientists found records of both the Ghost and Cursed battalions, suggesting these operations were monitored or even influenced by Nazi experimentation. Some of the documents contain cryptic instructions, references to electromagnetic anomalies, and experiments on disorientation and invisibility, concepts decades ahead of their time. The Cursed battalion reportedly vanished during a moonless night. Soldiers who survived recall strange hum in the air, lights that moved against the wind, and shadows that seemed alive. Vehicles stalled, compasses spun wildly, and radios transmitted static sounds resembling distant voices. The environment itself seemed manipulated. Though skeptics attribute these events to stress and war fatigue, multiple consistent accounts across different units lend credibility to the tales of the cursed fog. Allied command took note of the unusual reports. Units were advised to avoid certain areas, particularly during nighttime operations. Engineers were sent to study electromagnetic anomalies, while intelligence officers interviewed returning soldiers in secret. Their notes emphasized repeated occurrences of unexplainable events, from missing personnel to mechanical failures with no plausible cause. Though nothing definitive emerged, these reports contributed to a growing understanding that the war contained layers of mystery beyond conventional combat. Historians have drawn parallels between the Ghost Battalion on the Eastern Front and the Cursed Battalion in France. Both disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Both involved entire units vanishing with minimal evidence. Both have been linked to secretive experiments and wartime technologies. While there is no conclusive link, the similarities are striking, hinting at advanced experimentation or covert operations conducted by the Nazis during the closing months of the war. Operation Paperclip would later bring many of the scientists behind these experiments to the United States. Among them were engineers who had worked directly on projects involving invisible tanks, electromagnetic weapons, and experimental aircraft. The knowledge gained from these operations, though classified for decades, contributed to early Cold War advancements. Some theorists speculate that these scientists may have understood the technology or tactics responsible for mysterious disappearances, knowledge that remained hidden for decades. Even decades later, declassified documents reveal hints that some experiments may have been more than technological. Psychological operations, environmental manipulation, and extreme stress were used to create confusion on the battlefield. Soldiers sometimes encountered disorienting fogs, hallucinations, and untraceable movements that might explain partial disappearances. Combined with unrecorded troop movements, weather anomalies, and enemy misdirection, the final twist suggests that the war was not only fought with weapons, but also with perception itself. The stories of the Ghost Battalion, the Cursed Battalion, and the Secret Project highlight how little is truly known about the war's hidden layers. Military training manuals occasionally reference these events as cautionary tales, but many details remain classified for decades. Modern historians continue to debate the causes: advanced technology, human ingenuity, natural phenomena, or something beyond conventional understanding. The impact on families, commanders, and future military strategy is profound, as some lessons remain unsolved. Decades later, research teams have revisited battlefields, archives, and laboratories, piecing together fragments of information. Some findings include partial blueprints of invisible tanks, lab notes on electromagnetic interference, and testimonies of soldiers describing impossible occurrences. While not all claims are verified, they support the notion that the war contained layers of experimentation that modern science is only beginning to understand. Amid the technology, disappearances, and secret projects, the human element remained central. Soldiers confronted not only bullets and bombs, but fear, uncertainty, and phenomena that challenged their very perception of reality. Families waited for news that never came. Commanders faced decisions with incomplete information, and history retained only fragments of these extraordinary events. The stories of these battalions remind us that war's impact extends beyond strategy. It shapes memory, legend, and the collective imagination. In the end, the war's hidden chapters, the Ghost Battalion, the Cursed Battalion, Secret Experiments, and Disappearing Convoys, illustrate that history is rarely simple. Truth, legend, and speculation intertwine. The disappearances and technologies remain partly unexplained, leaving mysteries for future generations to explore. These stories, preserved in black and white imagery, remind us that some secrets of World War II are lost not to memory, but intentionally, hidden in shadows that only the brave dare to illuminate. As the dust of World War II settled across Europe, countless secret operations remained buried. Soldiers who survived unexplained disappearances returned with stories that could not be verified, often dismissed as hallucinations or exaggerations. Entire battalions have been erased from daily records, their experiences classified, leaving families and historians with only fragments of truth. Yet, the shadows of these operations lingered, a haunting reminder of the war's invisible battles. Hidden laboratories uncovered by Allied forces revealed blueprints for advanced tanks, aircraft, and experimental weapons. Some of these technologies would later influence Cold War developments. The secrecy surrounding their creation, however, left much unexplained. Documents reference invisible vehicles, electromagnetic interference, and other phenomena still considered impossible at the time. The mystery surrounding these projects only deepened as researchers pieced together incomplete evidence. Families of the disappeared battalions never received closure. Letters went unanswered. Graves were unmarked. Some soldiers were rumored to have been taken for secret experiments, while others simply vanished into forests, marshes, or unknown battlefields. These losses remind us that war's impact extends far beyond the front lines, into the realms of memory, legend, and untold human suffering. Among surviving soldiers, whispered stories of ghostly battalions, strange fogs, and unexplainable events became part of military lore. These tales were shared cautiously, sometimes in jest, sometimes in solemn warning. The legends blur the line between reality and imagination, reinforcing the eerie nature of battles fought not just with weapons, but with perception, fear, and secrecy. Decades later, declassified documents shed light on some of the hidden operations, but many files remain redacted or destroyed. Analysts piece together fragments, discovering patterns linking the Ghost and Cursed battalions to secret experiments. Yet, full explanations remain elusive. The secrets of the war are like shadows in the fog, visible only in fragments, never in full. Soldiers who survived the mysterious battalions often suffered psychological trauma. Some reported recurring visions of fogs and shadows, feelings of being watched, and unexplained anxiety. Commanders recognized these symptoms but lacked the understanding to address them. War left not only physical scars but also mental ones, many hidden and unrecorded, yet enduring for decades. The Ghost Battalion, Cursed Battalion, and Disappearing Convoys became emblematic of the war's hidden dimensions. Their stories challenge historians, writers, and filmmakers to explore the unknown. These events are a reminder that some chapters of history are intentionally obscured, that not all heroes are remembered, and that some events resist explanation, lingering in shadows and whispers. Even today, the lessons from these operations resonate. Military strategists study the impact of secrecy, psychological warfare, and technology on soldier performance. Historians continue to examine archives, hoping to uncover more about lost battalions and secret projects. The war's hidden stories teach us that not all conflicts are fought openly, and that understanding history requires looking beyond the obvious. Amid the mystery, the human experience remains central. Soldiers, scientists, and civilians lived through fear, uncertainty, and secrecy. Their choices, sacrifices, and suffering define the war as much as battles and strategies. The disappearances and hidden operations remind us that history is shaped not only by events, but by human perception, courage, and endurance. The hidden chapters of World War II, the Ghost Battalion, the Cursed Battalion, secret weapons, and vanishing convoys, remain some of the most compelling mysteries of modern history. While some truths have been revealed through declassified files, photographs, and eyewitness accounts, many remain elusive, hidden in shadows and fog. For those who explore these stories, the past is alive, haunting, and a reminder that history is never fully written. Some secrets are meant to linger,